Welcome to Week 15 Fantasy Pros. My name is Andrew Erickson, aka the Props Prophet, and today I'm coming at you with my top 10 early picks over on PrizePicks for NFL Week 15. Went 6-4 last week. The Dallas Cowboys offensive players let us down, but that doesn't mean we can't bounce back in Week 15. But before I get to my top 10 picks, if you want a chance to win a glorious fantasy football championship belt for your league, courtesy of our good friends at Trophy Smack, the number one destination for epic fantasy football trophies, you need to subscribe to the FantasyPros YouTube channel right now, drop a comment below on this video, and that is it. I'm announcing a winner right here on the channel. So make sure to turn on those notifications so you can know when new episodes are up and to claim your prize. Now, let's get to the favorite picks for NFL Week 15. Joe Mixon, less than 64.5 rushing yards versus the Minnesota Vikings. It's a tough rushing matchup for the Bengals that I love targeting in Week 15. The Vikings have allowed just one running back to rush for 70-plus yards against them this season, and that happened all the way back in Week 2. Just two running backs they have faced all year have gone for 65 or more yards. As Joe Mixon continues to cede touches and rushing attempts to rookie Chase Brown, who's gotten more work the last 2 weeks, the under and less than on his rushing yards prop is the only way to go in this spot on Saturday. Next up here, we got 3 from this game. Lamar Jackson, more than 224.5 passing yards against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Every quarterback the Jaguars have faced this season has gone over their projected passing yards total, except for Kenny Pickett, who got injured in that game, and Will Levis, who couldn't complete a deep pass to save his life back in Week 11. Therefore, I love the more than on Jackson's passing yards prop, set at 224.5 on PrizePicks. It's just too low of a number. He's gone over it in 3 of his last 4 games. Also, the Jags have allowed 296 or more passing yards in 4 of their last 5 games. So we're going to correlate this with my next number here. Odell Beckham Jr., more than 43.5 receiving yards against the Jags. Correlate it with the more thans on OBJ with Lamar Jackson. The yardage prop he has is suppressed at a lowly 43.5 yards. He's gone over 40 yards in 4 of his last 5 games. Last week, Beckham had 4 catches for 97 yards and a touchdown. He received 10 targets, good for a 25% target share. He had a 41% air yard share and 218 air yards overall. So he's seeing a ton of downfield looks. OBJ only played 53% of the snaps as the team monitors his workload, but it's so clear that when he is on the field, he's highly involved in the passing game with a very high target rate per route run. The Jaguars are allowing the 6th most receiving yards per game to wide receivers this season, including the most over the last 4 weeks at nearly 200 yards per game. Last part of this game, Evan Ingram, more than 47.5 receiving yards against the Ravens. You're going to round out the Sunday Night Football picks with Evan Ingram and more than his receiving yards. Ingram has gone over 47.5 yards in 8 of 13 games this season, 62%, including 3 straight. Baltimore has allowed over an opposing tight end in 5 of their last 6 games, with 4 tight ends going over 50 yards. With the lost safety Kyle Hamilton, Ingram should be peppered with targets over the middle of the field as Trevor Lawrence's most reliable target. In Week 14, Ingram caught 11 passes for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns on 12 targets. He was super efficient, unlike Calvin Ridley and Zay Jones. He had a 24% target share. I think Lawrence is going to continue to look his way with his receivers a little bit less reliable on Sunday Night Football. Moving to another game I really like for some overs, Brock Purdy, more than 264.5 passing yards against the Arizona Cardinals in the desert. I'm expecting to be a shootout. Again, it's another week to take the early line projections, more thans on 49ers players. The last time these two teams squared off was a massive game of Brandon Ayuk and CMC. I think both can be paired with Brock Purdy, especially Ayuk. Ayuk was the number 1 target when the 49ers first played the Cardinals. He recorded 148 receiving yards on 6 targets. He had 129 air yards, good for a 79% air yard share. Purdy threw for 283 yards back in that game. And in his last 7 games, Brock Purdy has thrown for fewer than 270 passing yards just once. So take the passing yards more than with Purdy on PrizePicks with his line set at 264.5 passing yards. Correlated with Ayuk's receiving yards prop set at 67.5. Projections have him nearly hitting 80 receiving yards in Week 15 against the Arizona Cardinals. Same game, but looking at the other side of the field, Kyler Murray, more than 221.5 passing yards against this 49ers defense. Look, Kyler Murray has gone over this in both of his 2 home starts this season. And as I talked about earlier, the Cardinals at home have been natural shootout environments, with the team a perfect 6-0 toward the over in Glendale, Arizona. And no team in the NFL faces a higher pass rate than the 49ers defense. the passing volume will be there for Kyler Murray, in which should be a negative game script where they have to throw to keep up with the high-powered offense that is the San Francisco 49ers. Little less fun here. Going to look at some less thans. Drake London, less than 52.5 receiving yards versus the Carolina Panthers. London led the receiving group for the Falcons with 10 catches for 172 yards on 12 targets last week in Week 14. But I have to admit, this game in particular for London, as great as it was very much matchup-based. He's always been better at home, as is Desmond Ridder, and the Buccaneers' pass defense is horrible. Carolina is a run-funnel defense. They have an underrated secondary. On the road in Week 15, I'm fading London in most cases for fear of a heavy run game script dialed up by Arthur Smith. Take the less than on London's 52.5 receiving yards prop against Carolina on the road. London has gone over 50 yards on the road just twice this season in 6 road games. And in the games he went over, it was against the horrible pass defenses of the Buccaneers and Tennessee Titans. Carolina held him catchless when these teams played in Week 1. Carolina is also facing the 3rd fewest targets and 8th fewest receiving yards to wide receivers this season. Another less than for wide receiver, DJ Moore, less than 65.5 receiving yards against the Cleveland Browns. The matchup with Cleveland is going to be tough for the Bears passing game overall. Therefore, I'm leaning towards the under on Bears passing yards props early in the week, despite the elite connection between Justin Fields and DJ Moore. Moore's PrizePicks line is set at 65.5 receiving yards against the Browns defense that has held wide receivers to the 2nd lowest receiving yards per game mark this season. Last two that I want to wrap things up with. Baker Mayfield, less than 225.5 passing yards against the Green Bay Packers. Did you know only 2 quarterbacks that have faced the Packers this season have gone for 270 yards plus? 8 of the last 10 quarterbacks that they have faced, Green Bay has held under their projected passing yards. They're a team that you can't really throw on effectively, but you run the ball instead. I mean, just look at Baker Mayfield, what he's done recently. He's gone under this number in 3 straight games. I want to pair it with this next player here, and my last player to talk about. Rachaad White, running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, more than 64.5 rushing yards against the aforementioned Green Bay Packers. White led the rushing game for Tampa Bay with 102 yards on 25 carries, while Chase Edmonds also contributed with 40 yards on 8 attempts. Still, Rachaad White was an absolute bell cow with an 85% snap share. With White getting absolutely fed left and right, I love taking the more than on his 64.5 rushing yards prop against the run funnel Green Bay Packers. The last 5 running backs the Packers have faced have all gone over their projected rushing totals. That's going to wrap a bow on my favorite PrizePicks player props for NFL Week 15. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and share with all your friends for more profitable NFL Sundays upcoming. And again, be sure to check out the PrizePicks cheat sheet over on bettingpros.com to help you find more PrizePicks player picks this week. But before you go, again, if you want a chance to win a glorious fantasy football championship belt for your league, courtesy of our good friends at Trophy Smack, the #1 destination for epic fantasy football trophies, all you have to do is subscribe to the FantasyPros YouTube channel right now, drop a comment below on this video, and that is it. I'm announcing a winner right here on the channel. So make sure to turn on those notifications so you can know when new videos are up and to claim your prize. Thanks for watching and good luck in NFL Week 15.